In this moment, allow yourself to simply be. Notice the breath as it flows in and out effortlessly. Feel the aliveness within your body, the subtle energy that animates every cell. This presence you are experiencing is the most powerful spiritual practice you can bring into your daily life. It requires no rituals, no complex philosophies, and no distant quest for enlightenment. It is available to you here and now. Often we become lost in the noise of our minds, endless thoughts about the past and endless projections into the future. We chase goals, accumulate possessions, and define ourselves by labels. Yet, no matter how much we achieve or acquire, a sense of lack lingers because we are not truly present. We are not truly alive to this moment. The key to freedom is astonishingly simple. Bring awareness to the present. When you drink a glass of water, feel the coolness on your lips, the sensation of it flowing down your throat. When you walk, feel each step, the connection between your feet and the earth. When you listen to someone, give them your full attention without waiting to respond or judging their words. In these seemingly mundane acts, the sacred is revealed. Be fully present. This may sound simple, but in practice it is one of the most challenging and transformative things you can do. To be fully present means to bring your complete attention to whatever is happening right now without distraction, judgment, or resistance. It means to engage with life directly, experiencing it as it is, rather than through the filter of past memories or future expectations. This moment is all there ever is, yet the mind constantly pulls us away from it into stories about what was or what might be. The power of being present lies in freeing yourself from this mental chatter. When you are fully present, a sense of stillness and peace naturally arises. You become more aware of the subtle beauty in the world around you, the way sunlight dances on a leaf, the sound of the wind, the feeling of your own breath. These details are often missed when the mind is preoccupied with thoughts. By bringing your attention to them, you connect with the depth of the present moment. This connection is not merely an observation, it is a participation in life itself. It is an awakening to the aliveness that permeates all things. Presence is not about trying to stop your thoughts. It is about stepping back and observing them without getting caught up in them. Notice how thoughts arise and pass away, how they often repeat patterns of worry, desire, or regret. Realize that these thoughts are not who you are. They are merely mental events. By witnessing them without attachment, you create a space between yourself and your mind. In this space, you discover a deeper consciousness that is always still and untouched by the turbulence of thought. This awareness also transforms how you relate to others. When you're present, you truly listen. You are not merely waiting for your turn to speak or interpreting what the other person says through your own mental filters. You give your full attention, creating a space of acceptance and understanding. This presence is felt by others. It is a silent, powerful way of connecting that goes beyond words. In this state of being, there is no need to defend an ego, no need to prove or assert yourself. There is just the act of listening, of being there fully. To be present is to engage with even the simplest activities wholeheartedly. Whether you are washing dishes, drinking tea, or walking, be fully there. Feel the sensation of water on your hands, taste the warmth of the tea, notice the ground beneath your feet. These are gateways to presence. When you bring awareness to these moments, they are no longer mundane. They become infused with a sense of aliveness and joy. The need for constant stimulation and distraction diminishes because you find fulfillment in simply being. Presence also brings clarity and effectiveness to your actions. When you act from a state of full awareness, your actions are not reactions conditioned by past experiences or future anxieties. They are spontaneous and appropriate to the situation. You respond to life rather than reacting to it. This reduces stress and unnecessary conflict because your actions are aligned with the flow of life itself. You are no longer fighting against what is, but moving with it. This practice is accessible at any moment. It requires no special place, no special time. Simply observe your breath, feel the sensations in your body, listen to the sounds around you. These anchors pull you back into the present. Every time your mind wanders, gently guide it back to now. It is a practice of returning over and over without frustration or impatience. Observe your thoughts. This practice is simple in theory but profound in its impact. It involves watching your mind without identifying with it, without being pulled into its endless stream of commentary and judgment. The human mind is a remarkable tool, capable of incredible creativity and problem solving, but it is also the source of much unnecessary suffering. Thoughts often revolve around the past or the future, creating narratives of regret, anxiety, or desire. By observing your thoughts, you begin to see them for what they are: transient, insubstantial, and separate from your true self. When you observe your thoughts, you create a space between the thinker and the thought. This space is consciousness itself, the awareness that notices the mind's activity. In this space, you realize that you are not your thoughts. You are the one who is aware of them. This realization brings tremendous freedom because it breaks the identification with the thinking mind. Thoughts no longer have the power to control your emotions and actions. They simply come and go like clouds passing through the sky, while you remain as the clear, open space in which they appear. The practice of observing thoughts requires no special technique. It begins with noticing. Notice the stream of mental chatter, the internal monologue that constantly narrates your experiences. Notice how one thought leads to another, often spiraling into patterns of worry or judgment. Pay attention to the types of thoughts that frequently arise. Are they critical, fearful, or restless? By observing these patterns without getting involved, you bring awareness to the unconscious habits of the mind. This awareness itself initiates a process of transformation. It is important to observe without judgment. The moment you judge a thought as good or bad, you are once again identified with it. Instead, watch with curiosity and neutrality. Let the thoughts arise and dissolve on their own. without trying to suppress or change them. This creates a state of inner stillness, even amidst mental activity. You begin to see the difference between thinking and awareness. Thinking is repetitive and often rooted in the past or future, while awareness is always in the present moment. Through this practice, you also discover how much of your suffering is self-created. You realize that it is not the external situation itself that causes pain, but your interpretation of it, your mental story about what is happening. When you observe the thought, rather than becoming the thought, the story loses its power. You see it as just another passing phenomenon, not an absolute truth. This detachment allows you to respond to life's challenges with clarity and calmness. This awareness transforms your relationship with emotions as well. Emotions are often the body's response to thoughts. For example, a fearful thought triggers physical sensations of anxiety. By observing the thought that precedes the emotion, you can break the cycle of automatic reactivity. Instead of being overwhelmed by emotion, you allow it to be, noticing its rise and fall without resistance. This acceptance allows emotions to move through you without becoming stuck or suppressed. This practice can be integrated into daily life. Notice your thoughts while waiting in line, during conversations, or while performing routine tasks. Each moment is an opportunity to observe the mind. Gradually, this observation becomes more natural, and you find yourself less entangled in mental drama. You begin to live more fully in the present, experiencing life directly rather than through the lens of thought. As you continue to observe your thoughts, the mind becomes quieter, not through force, but through non-attachment. You no longer feed unnecessary mental noise because you no longer believe in its absolute reality. A deep sense of peace and spaciousness emerges. This is the freedom of living as the awareness behind the thoughts, rather than being trapped within them. Embrace stillness. In a world filled with noise, activity, and constant stimulation, stillness is a rare and precious state. Yet it is within stillness that you reconnect with the essence of who you are. This stillness is not merely the absence of sound or movement. It is an inner space of awareness that remains unchanged amidst the fluctuations of life. It is the quiet backdrop against which all experiences occur. To embrace stillness is to rest in this space of pure consciousness, beyond thoughts, emotions, and sensory perception. Stillness is always present, but it is often overlooked because the mind is habitually active. Thoughts constantly arise, creating a sense of noise and restlessness. By directing attention inward and allowing the mind to settle, you begin to sense the stillness that underlies all mental activity. This is not something you create, it is something you notice by letting go of distractions. It is the silence between thoughts, the pause between breaths, the space in which all sounds are heard. In this stillness, you discover a deep sense of peace that is unaffected by external circumstances. To access this stillness, you do not need to withdraw from life or enter a secluded place. It is available wherever you are in any situation. Begin by noticing the gaps between your thoughts. Even the busiest mind has brief moments of no thought, but they are often missed because attention quickly moves to the next thought. When you bring awareness to these gaps, they expand, revealing the stillness that is always there. This stillness is the source of true creativity, insight, and wisdom, because it is free from the limitations of conditioned thinking. One of the most powerful ways to connect with stillness is through the breath. By focusing on the natural rhythm of breathing, you anchor your awareness in the present moment. Notice the sensation of the breath entering and leaving the body, the rise and fall of the chest. Do not try to control the breath, simply observe it. This observation creates a state of alert relaxation where the mind becomes quiet and you become more aware of the stillness within. In this state, thoughts may continue to come and go, but they no longer disturb the depth of your inner peace. Another gateway to stillness is listening. Listen to the sounds around you without labeling or interpreting them, whether it is the hum of traffic, the rustling of leaves, or the sound of your own breath. Listen with full attention. Notice the silence in which these sounds arise and disappear. This silence is not merely the absence of noise, it is a presence in itself. By tuning into this silence, you become aware of the stillness that underlies all sound. This practice cultivates a deep sense of presence and connects you to the timeless dimension of being. Embracing stillness also means becoming comfortable with doing nothing. In modern life, there is a constant urge to be productive, to fill every moment with activity or stimulation. Yet true rest and renewal come from allowing yourself to simply be. Take moments throughout the day to pause, even for just a few breaths. Allow your mind and body to settle. Notice the space around you. These pauses reconnect you with the stillness that is always present beneath the surface of movement and noise. This stillness is not separate from life's activity. It coexists with movement, just as the vast sky holds both clouds and clear space. When you embrace this stillness, you bring a quality of calm awareness to all your actions. You move through life with a sense of ease and flow because your inner state is no longer dependent on external events. You respond rather than react because your actions arise from a place of presence rather than mental agitation. This allows you to engage with life fully without losing your connection to inner peace. In stillness, you also discover the essence of your true self. You realize that you are not your thoughts, emotions, or roles. You are the awareness in which all experiences arise and dissolve. This awareness is timeless, formless, and unchanging. It is the source of love, joy, and creativity. When you rest in this awareness, you are no longer defined by the limitations of the mind or the fluctuations of the world. You become rooted in a deeper dimension of being where all is well, regardless of external conditions. Accept what is. This practice is a doorway to inner peace and liberation. It means embracing the present moment exactly as it is, without resistance, judgment, or a desire for it to be different. This does not mean passive resignation or giving up on positive change. Instead, it means acknowledging reality as it is before taking any action. Resistance to the present moment is one of the primary sources of suffering because it creates an inner conflict between what is and what the mind believes should be. By accepting what is, you end this inner struggle and find peace in the now. Acceptance begins with awareness. Notice how often the mind argues with reality. It labels experiences as good or bad, desirable or undesirable. It compares the present moment to an idealized version of how things should be, generating dissatisfaction and frustration. When something doesn't go according to plan, the mind resists by replaying events, assigning blame, or fantasizing about a different outcome. This resistance intensifies emotional pain, turning discomfort into suffering. The first step to acceptance is simply noticing this resistance without judgment. Recognize the inner tension created by non-acceptance. Once you become aware of resistance, allow it to be there without trying to change it. Paradoxically, by accepting your non-acceptance, you begin to dissolve it. Feel the tightness in your body, the emotional discomfort, and the mental agitation. Allow these sensations to exist without labeling them as wrong or trying to escape them. This act of allowing is itself a form of acceptance. It creates a space of presence around the resistance, enabling it to naturally lose its intensity. In the space of awareness, you realize that resistance is merely a pattern of thought and emotion, not who you truly are. Accepting what is does not mean you must agree with or like the situation. It simply means acknowledging reality without mental resistance. For example, if you feel anger, accept the feeling fully. Observe the physical sensations, the thoughts that accompany it, and the urge to react. By accepting the anger without judgment, you prevent it from controlling your actions. This conscious acceptance allows the emotion to pass through you rather than becoming trapped or suppressed. From this place of awareness, you can respond to the situation consciously rather than reacting impulsively. This practice is particularly powerful when facing life's challenges, whether it is the loss of a loved one, a sudden change in circumstances, or everyday frustrations. Acceptance liberates you from unnecessary suffering. It does not mean passivity, but rather aligning with the flow of life. When you accept what is, you stop resisting the present moment and become fully present. From this state of presence, you can take effective action, guided by clarity and wisdom, rather than fear or anger. Acceptance thus becomes the foundation for inspired and effective living. Acceptance also transforms your relationship with others. Often, conflict arises from resisting how others behave or from trying to control them. When you accept people as they are, without demanding that they change to fit your expectations, you experience more harmonious relationships. Acceptance does not mean tolerating harmful behavior, but recognizing that others act from their level of consciousness. By letting go of judgment and control, you allow others to be themselves, which often leads to more authentic and compassionate connections. This acceptance creates a space of love and understanding in which real transformation can occur. Practicing acceptance does not mean that you become passive or indifferent. In fact, it empowers you to respond to life more effectively. When you accept what is, you conserve the energy that would have been spent resisting or complaining. This energy can then be channeled into creative solutions or positive change. Acceptance grounds you in the present moment, where all action takes place. From this place of presence, your actions become aligned with the flow of life, allowing you to move through challenges with greater ease and resilience. Acceptance is a moment-to-moment practice. It is about meeting each experience with openness, whether it is joy or sorrow, ease or difficulty. This includes accepting your thoughts, emotions, and bodily sensations without labeling them as good or bad. By allowing each moment to be as it is, you free yourself from the mental habit of constant resistance. You realize that peace is not found by changing circumstances, but by accepting them as they are. In this state of acceptance, you discover an inner stillness that remains unaffected by the changing conditions of life. Release the past and future. This practice is essential for living fully in the present moment, where true power and peace reside. The human mind habitually dwells in time, replaying past events or projecting into the future. It revisits old memories, regrets, and resentments, or anticipates future scenarios filled with hopes, fears, and anxieties. While the ability to remember and plan is useful, excessive identification with the past and future creates suffering. It traps you in mental narratives that pull you away from the present, where life is actually happening. By releasing the past and future, you liberate yourself from these mental prisons. To release the past, begin by recognizing how often your mind revisits it. Notice the recurring memories and stories you tell yourself about what happened. These stories shape your identity and influence how you perceive the present. However, the past is nothing more than a collection of thoughts arising in the now. It no longer exists except as a mental construct. Realize that each time you dwell on the past, you are reliving a memory, not the actual event. By observing this process, you create a space between yourself and your thoughts, which allows you to let go of the past script. Letting go of the past also involves forgiving yourself and others. Holding on to grudges or guilt keeps you chained to past events and prevents healing. Forgiveness does not mean condoning harmful behavior. It means freeing yourself from the burden of resentment. It is an act of releasing the emotional attachment to past experiences. When you forgive, you acknowledge the pain but refuse to carry it forward. This creates space for healing and growth. It allows you to move through life without the heavy baggage of past wounds and to engage with each moment anew. Similarly, releasing the future means letting go of excessive worry, anticipation, or desire for specific outcomes. Planning and setting goals are practical activities, but when you become attached to them, they generate anxiety and fear of the unknown. The future is inherently uncertain, and the mind's attempt to control it leads to stress and restlessness. Recognize that the future is a mental projection, a series of thoughts occurring in the present. By observing these thoughts without getting caught up in them, you break free from their influence. This allows you to engage with life as it unfolds, without the need to manipulate or predict every detail. One powerful way to release the past and future is through mindfulness of the present moment. Anchor yourself in the now by paying attention to your senses. Notice the sounds around you, the sensations in your body, the rhythm of your breath. These sensory experiences are always happening in the present moment and help draw your attention away from time-bound thoughts. By fully experiencing what is happening right now, you realize that the present is all there ever is. Past and future are merely mental constructs that distract you from the richness of the now. This practice also involves letting go of your mental narratives about time. The mind constructs a continuous story of me by linking past experiences with future ambitions. This creates a sense of identity rooted in time. However, this identity is a mental fiction that keeps you bound to psychological time. In this state, you experience a sense of timeless presence, a peace that is not dependent on external conditions or the passage of time. Releasing the past and future does not mean neglecting practical responsibilities. You can still remember useful information and plan necessary activities, but without being psychologically burdened by them. Memories become tools rather than chains, and plans become flexible guides rather than rigid demands. This flexibility allows you to adapt to changing circumstances with ease and creativity. It enables you to respond to life's challenges with clarity and calmness, rather than through the lens of past conditioning or future fear. This practice also deepens your relationships. When you release past grievances or future expectations, you meet others as they are in this moment. You listen more attentively and respond more authentically. Relationships become more harmonious because they are not clouded by old resentments or unmet expectations. You engage with others from a place of presence rather than through the filters of past judgments or future desires. This creates a space for genuine connection and understanding. By releasing the past and future, you align yourself with the flow of life. You are no longer resisting what was or what might be, but are fully engaged with what is. This state of presence brings a deep sense of peace and freedom. You become liberated from the mental stories that limit your experience and discover the joy of simply being. Connect with the present moment. This practice is the foundation of spiritual awakening and the key to living a life of peace, joy, and fulfillment. The present moment is the only reality that truly exists. The past is a memory, a thought arising in the now. The future is an imagined projection, also occurring in the now. Yet the mind habitually pulls attention away from the present, creating a sense of separation from life itself. By consciously connecting with the present moment, you break free from the mind's illusion of time and experience the fullness of life as it unfolds. To connect with the present moment, begin by bringing awareness to your senses. Notice the sights, sounds, smells, and sensations around you. Feel the ground beneath your feet, the texture of objects you touch, the air against your skin. These sensory experiences are always happening in the now and serve as powerful anchors to the present. When you fully engage your senses, the mental noise of past and future begins to fade. You become immersed in the richness of direct experience, free from the filters of thought and judgment. One of the most effective ways to connect with the present is through conscious breathing. Your breath is always in the present moment and is a bridge between body and mind. Bring your attention to the sensation of breathing, the rise and fall of your chest, the coolness of the inhale, the warmth of the exhale. Do not try to control your breath, simply observe it as it naturally flows. This simple act of attention quiets the mind and draws you into a state of presence. You become the awareness that observes the breath, not the thinker lost in mental chatter. Connecting with the present moment also involves embracing stillness. In a world of constant activity and noise, stillness is a rare and precious state. Yet it is in stillness that you access the depth of your being. Take moments throughout the day to pause and be still. Notice the space around you, the silence beneath the sounds. In this stillness, you become aware of the background of presence that is always there, underlying all experiences. This presence is your true self, the timeless awareness that witnesses all forms of change. Another powerful practice is to fully engage in whatever you are doing, whether it is washing dishes, walking, or having a conversation. Give your complete attention to the activity. Notice every detail, every movement, every sound. When you bring this quality of attention to your actions, they become infused with presence. Even the most mundane tasks are transformed into sacred moments of being. You experience a state of flow, where the division between you and the activity dissolves, and you become one with the moment. This practice also involves releasing resistance to the present moment. Notice how often the mind labels experiences as good or bad, desirable or undesirable. These judgments create a barrier between you and the now, generating dissatisfaction and restlessness. By accepting each moment as it is, without mental commentary, you dissolve this resistance. Acceptance does not mean passivity, but aligning with the flow of life. When you stop resisting what is, you open yourself to the full depth and richness of the present. Connecting with the present moment also transforms your relationship with others. When you are present, you listen more deeply and respond more authentically. You are not caught up in your own thoughts or waiting for your turn to speak. Instead, you give your full attention to the other person, creating a space of true connection and understanding. This presence is felt by others as a quality of calmness and openness, which fosters harmony and compassion in all interaction. This practice liberates you from the mind's incessant stream of thoughts. You realize that you are not the thinker, but the awareness that observes the thoughts. This awareness is always present, beneath the surface activity of the mind. By resting in this awareness, you become free from the compulsive need to label, judge, or analyze every experience. You enter a state of inner stillness where peace and joy naturally arise. These qualities are not dependent on external circumstances, but are the essence of your being. Connecting with the present moment also reveals the impermanence of all forms. You see that everything is in a constant state of change. Thoughts, emotions, sensations, and experiences arise and dissolve. This realization frees you from attachment and fear of loss. You learn to appreciate each moment without clinging to it, knowing that life is a continuous flow. This acceptance of impermanence brings a deep sense of gratitude and reverence for life in all its fleeting beauty. This practice is simple but profound. It requires no special technique or ritual. It is about bringing awareness to each moment, fully experiencing whatever is happening without trying to change it. The more you practice, the more natural it becomes. You begin to live from a state of presence, no longer lost in thoughts of past or future. You experience the freedom of being fully alive, awake to the miracle of existence, here and now. The most powerful spiritual practice for daily life is the art of presence. By observing your thoughts, embracing stillness, accepting what is, releasing the past and future, and connecting deeply with the present moment, you awaken to the essence of who you truly are, consciousness itself, untouched by time and circumstance. In this state of presence, you find peace that transcends all external conditions, joy that arises from simply being, and love that flows naturally from a heart unburdened by judgment or fear. This practice is not about escaping life, but fully embracing it, moment by moment. As you cultivate this awareness, you move through the world with grace, clarity, and compassion, transforming every experience into an opportunity for growth and connection. In presence, you discover the timeless dimension of being, where all is whole, complete, and at peace.